Hey team, how are you? Jamie Milne here. Welcome to the Real Jamie Milne podcast, JMTtv. Thank you for joining us. I'm super pumped for this little interview. I'm so excited. So we'll start with Kendall, Dr. K. Kendall, lecturer at the University of the Sunshine Coast, mother, wife, amazing ultra endurance athlete, head of our little research component of Wairua Spirit, the 10-year documentary, and also leading the medical support team with Wairua Spirit, and all-round supernova and formally educated unicorn. Do you like that?
That was nice.
That was really nice. Fuck, mate. Who are you?
I just slipped in the back door.
Guys, this is David Mansfield, formerly known as the Prince of Palmwoods around here at Jamie Milne Training. He is a remarkable and magnificent builder. He is a father. He is a husband. Got some amazing children, and again, quite an incredible ultra runner, new to the sport, loves the endurance sport, has made a pretty spectacular transformation from a bit of a, I've been around for 40 years and turned into a bit of an athlete himself. But what is really cool about these two people and what these two lovely human beings have in common is they have just come back from the Elephant Trail race in Elephant Trail Ultra Marathon down in Port Macquarie in New South Wales. So they've been wrangling and wrestling the elephants down there. How are you guys?
We're recovering.
Yeah.
Slowly
Recovering.
It's been 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That particular race would have to be the most underestimated, subtly talked about event out there. That looked horrific. Like, that honestly looked absolutely horrific. We're going to talk a little bit more about the race. Just crazy. I'm gonna open with a simple question, and it's something that I get really curious about, and I love people's answers with this. And it's a really simple one. I'm going to open with something nice and basic. We're going to ease into it gently. Dave, mate, we'll start with you. Why do you run? Why running? Why run?
Why?
Yeah.
Fucking
trick question, mate.
So for me, just a couple of years ago, I sort of realised that I probably needed to get control of my health, and almost by accident sort of stumbled in here with you and the other crew and started doing some running, and actually found that I really quite enjoyed it, and lost a bit of weight and felt a lot better about myself, and it just sort of spiralled from there, really. And then since then, the longer distance running, and I've just found that from keeping my head clear and also just enjoying the time being outside, and then obviously with the trail runs, that it's good for the soul, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. You find, like with your lifestyle, with the building and the family and stuff like that, it's a good hobby to have. It's a good incentive to go running and stuff. Does it balance,
Oh yeah, the quiet time's amazing. That's probably what, just being outside on your own sometimes.
Running away from the kids and stuff.
Oh, well, I guess arguably you are running away from some of your problems, but on the other hand, if you're running and you get to keep your head clear, you can solve some of your problems as well. So
yeah.
That helps.
Yeah, it certainly does, man. I totally agree. Dr. K, why running?
Why?
Yeah, why?
It makes me happy.
Does it?
So many ways. I think I grew up as a runner, so it helped me form a really good bond with my dad, who was my coach. So from a young age, I always identified as a runner.
Yeah.
And I think that if you identify as something, it then infiltrates into your everyday life and your habits and your daily choices. And for me, having a goal that's in the future helps me make good choices on a daily basis, because you can't hack this kind of event. There's no shortcuts.
Oh.
So you have to...
Come on, mate.
No, she's right.
That's why you had to go first.
So you have to... and it helps calm your monkey mind. For me,
oh yeah,
just it's like a meditative.
Talk to us. So when you say monkey mind, like I understand what you're talking about there. Explain what is the monkey brain, what is the monkey mind? If you could explain it in a bit of a nutshell.
Yeah, it's the kind of incessant thoughts that can be either positive or negative, generated by what your internal dialogue is attached to. So how
Here comes all the big words. It's incessant
thoughts, and for me, it's like meditation. So it calms everything down. It's like a sedative without any pharmaceutical intake. And it gets you out in nature. So I think human beings, we need to be out in nature as.
Totally agree.
Yeah. So like when Dave said that, just being out in the forest, like you're kind of at peace, and it's really a good place to be.
That's fantastic, and I actually totally agree with everything you guys have said, and I mean that's certainly the reason why I run a lot, why I have an affinity to running, why I adore running. It's my medicine. It is the parallels to life for me, which I think you kind of touched on as well. They're so similar. I think what the interesting thing is about you guys, and I've been thinking about it a while. I've been thinking about you two quite a lot. I won't go into some
worried.
Saucy mix.
He said I'm a bully.
Who said that?
That's a big word, isn't it? He said I
You are a
bullied him
bully.
into the elephant. I don't think that's true. Just want to bring that up. Get that out in the
Kendall bullies people into running events around here,
It's
apparently.
like Kirsty Leafy.
Yeah. I read something the other day, right? And I think it does sum you two up in a nutshell. You know, we're not who we think we are. We're not who we say we are. We are the sum of our habits. I'll just let you sit on that for a second. Now, there's a number of people in this gym they've been coming out of the woodwork a lot lately, really been just shining bright lights on individual endeavours and individual efforts. And a lot of these people, the common thread that they have as consistency, their habits towards training. And as Dr. K said, you can't do an ultra marathon without doing the work. If you take the shortcuts, if you try and look for the easy button, if you try and look for the fucking biohack, you will get found out every single time.
Because there isn't one.
Because there isn't one, that's right. So you are the sum of your daily habits and your consistent habits. Now, I watched you guys train over this period of time leading into the Elephant Trail Race, and you guys did a remarkable job, and I think it's a real powerful, potent and encouraging reminder that we are the sum of our daily habits. It's not what we think we are. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's not what we say we are. Doesn't fucking matter. It is what we do consistently, and you guys have proven that hands down. It's amazing. That is the dog who is groaning in the background. That's not me. Okay, so during the time, just to clear that up, during the time you were training, we've had some pretty poor weather here on the Sunshine Coast, and I know everybody would say, bad weather on the Sunshine Coast just doesn't exist. It's always lovely, but we've certainly had pretty poor weather. Like, how have you maintained your habits? How have you maintained your motivation, your drive, your focus? Where did you find inspiration to keep going? Run us through that really quickly. How did you keep going?
Well, for me, I think that we sort of worked as a training partnership, didn't we? And I think that we've made plans to go out on a weekend morning. If it was raining, I wouldn't go on my own. Because you'd roll over in bed and think, oh, it's raining.
Because it was
when
dark,
you know that, well, yeah, it's raining, it's dark.
Were you afraid or?
Drop bears. Drop bears are scary, but no, having that accountability of working together, and sort of knowing that if you do just roll over and shut your eyes again, then you're sort of letting your mate down. Yeah. So that was a huge help for me.
Like that accountability is a big one, eh?
Yeah.
Hear that, people? Accountability. If you're lacking motivation, rope in a victim or excuse me, or a friend, and get them to back you. Hold each other to account.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Dr. K, you got any big words?
Yeah, no, I think because the weather was terrible and it's cold.
It
and
it was pretty shit.
It's pretty miserable doing it by yourself, and I think also having a goal that you know you can't just slip into home base. Like you actually have to do the work. And we had an awesome program that was really hard that we had to commit to from Jamie to be able to achieve it. So the goals that we both set for each other, we were unsure if we could achieve them.
Yep.
And
that's
we were I was a bit scared. Like I'd wake up in the weeks leading up to it feeling this impending doom of what I was about to go through.
Did your eyelashes twitch or?
A little bit. I had
Dave,
some palpitations.
I won't ask you what twitched, mate.
And to have a partner who, you know, we had good days and bad days. Both of us were on and off on different days, and I think that was definitely a motivator to get out, because I don't know if I would have done it myself either. It's a bit like 3 o'clock in the morning, you're getting up.
Yeah. You're
tired, it's raining, it's cold, you got to start running in the rain.
It's always that's a staggered start at the best of times, isn't it?
Yeah.
You're 10% tougher if you run in the rain.
Oh.
Did you know that? How did you feel that?
Allegedly, yeah, I have heard that. I tell you what though, from the outside looking in, and I know the guys in the gym. So for those of you who don't know, Dave and Dr. K are integral parts of this community here, and I would go as far to say is almost the backbone, the cornerstone of this community. These two, they're a massive part of it, and it was really inspirational. Fuck, right, oh, thanks, yeah. Jamie wrote us this great program, and he doesn't get a fucking fist pump. No fist pumps for Jamie.
There's some nasty stuff on that program.
Yeah, that's why you got a half-assed fist pump. And it was really, really remarkable to watch these guys chipping away, training, and it's the whole journey. It's awesome to watch. And you said something earlier on, Kendall, about, and I totally agree, if your goals are too small, and I came to this conclusion the other day, we lack motivation and we lose motivation if we don't have a goal. That's the first one, I think. And the second one, if our goals are too fucking small. And a lot of us are very conservative. And then people boo-hoo and say, you don't need goals, you don't need an event, and that's fine. But I think eventually you can hit some roadblocks, and the lack of drive and focus and these limiting beliefs start to creep in. But when you've got a really big goal that fucking scares you, that puts sickness in your tummy and goosebumps and tingles and eyelashes twitch and bits and pieces twitch and other parts twitch, it gets you motivated, and it keeps you motivated. And I think the cool thing is it has an infectious enthusiasm. So we all get caught up in the watching everybody go through this journey, as we did with you guys. You guys are fucking amazing. That's all I've got to say. Cheers.
Oh,
Fist
thanks,
bump, big ups.
Jamie.
Big ups. Big ups. What's your worst running experience that you've had? And it could be a training experience, or it could be falling down Death Valley or something whilst filming. I don't know.
Dave's had some great falls that have been captured on film, and they've provided
Oh.
endless entertainment for everyone.
For everyone.
Being publicly humiliated, that's probably
Or being publicly humiliated.
Yeah. Thanks for that.
Yeah, you have, haven't you? That was a great
it
fall. Talk to us about said fall.
Which one?
So think back to your worst running experience and how you got through it. Or training experience, doesn't matter.
For me, probably the worst one I had was one of the 50k running rights that we did. Would have been a year or so ago, and we ended up doing the final run. Would have been a week or two before Christmas. It was about 800 degrees. And
In the shade.
yeah, and I basically got dropped back from the pack and ended up on my own. And
This is this whole being alone thing. That
yeah.
I can see where this is going. Yeah.
And yeah, I just struggled to keep moving in the heat, dehydrated, and it just wasn't a huge amount of fun.
Yep.
And but I kept going.
For those of you new to the podcast, my dad's just entered the room and left the room head first. Rightio, keep going. Sorry.
Yeah, so I just kept going, kept chipping away, and managed to get through it. So then I sort of turned that bad experience around and always kept that in the back of my mind, that if I can get through that, then get through a lot of things.
Yeah.
So yeah, that wasn't much fun.
Yeah. Advice to anybody else encountering such an experience like that, mate? Got anything else?
Keep your fluids up.
Keep your fluids. Yeah, keep your fluids up.
I don't know. Yeah, just keep your fluids up. Maybe running a group. Just probably train a bit more.
This is that whole safety and numbers thing again.
Yeah, I
see where this
guess
is
so,
going,
yeah.
especially in the dark.
Yeah, and just never give up, really.
Ooh.
That's. There was actually, we got given wristbands for this elephant trail race, and it said never give up on there, didn't
Yeah,
it? And
it was pink.
that's,
Looked cute on David.
It's funny, the smallest things can keep you going. Like something like that.
Yeah.
Just so I know it's really it's simple, but
it's pretty
powerful.
basic, isn't it? But
Well, mate, it's just fucking do it as exactly as it says.
Yeah.
It's pretty. Yeah.
so
That's awesome, man.
yeah.
Dr. K, an experience training, running, and perhaps maybe some useful advice as to how to get through a situation.
I think I was stripped pretty bare on this elephant trail. I think it meets the criteria of the most brutal trail in Australia. So it was the layering of discomfort which caught up with me. And I think I was coming in on my 4th lap, so it was over a day and a half of running, and it was cold, and it was dark, and I was so tired I was snaking, but I didn't realise.
Yeah, you don't.
When you start to run to the side, and I was struggling to keep my nutrition up. I lost my appetite, and I was all alone by myself, and just trying to get back to the aid station, which never seemed to come.
I think they kept moving it.
I'm sure just keep dragging it back. Just 5 more metres.
For it. And
This will fucking get him. Put it behind that rock.
Yeah.
They won't see it. Oh.
And when you get so desperate, you look for spots. I was thinking about my space blanket and how I was going to sausage roll myself and just lie down, and someone will find me in the morning, or someone will track me down. So I got quite to a desperate state of wanting just to lie down and for it to all end.
And it snowballs, doesn't it? Once the darkness rolls in, once the thought process starts going, it just bloody escalates, doesn't it? Just manifests.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, a nasty little manifestation of negative shit.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Wow. And what? So, so talk to us about. So, if somebody else was to encounter, and ultra runners would understand the overwhelming urge to quit. That's always there. That you're just like, oh man, I'm done, and you don't, we don't realise in the heat of the moment or in that particular present moment that we have got so much more. But at the time, it's like, it's easy to say that, but when you're fucking broken and you're tired and you're cold and it's miserable, and then like you said, the snaking, the tripping over, the falling over, the lack of food, don't want to eat, a little bit of wee. And what advice would you give to somebody to work through that?
Oh, I think it does come down to your ability to manage your emotions in that time, and also manage your physical state. So how you manage your internal chatter when you're at your most depleted. And I think that is built up over training runs. So we had a couple of really tough runs that got us into that, close to that state where we, you can regroup and remanage and start to bring some more nutrition in, get warm again, just slow down, get your breathing back on track, start to think about why you entered the event. And if you pulled out then, what would that lead to? So just giving yourself some space between the stressor and your response is how I think you manage it.
Ladies and gentlemen, there we go, Dave. Not gonna be. It's gonna be easy and interesting trying to beat that, mate. Just quietly. That is great advice, and I think that's that whole during training. Like you said, you can win the battles, but you might not win the war. So you gotta bleed in your training almost, so you can survive in the war type things. What is it? Win the battle. You can if you. Anyway, I'm getting confused, but whatever you don't face, you can't fix it. So you've got to look and take inventory of where you're at whilst you're training. Is my food shit? Is this food not working? Is this tailwind not working? Is this supplement not working? Anti-inflammatories, do they work for me? How much should I drink? What do I do when I can't eat? You got to face these things, don't you? Otherwise you can't fix it.
But it's hard to face those things when you're training for an ultra. Because trying to find the time.
Yeah.
is a challenge.
That's huge, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of that, so how did you do that? Because you're a professional man, your wife's a professional, you've got a big family, you exercise, and Dr. K yourself, you guys are busy
Yeah.
professionals. So a
It
tip
was
on
hard.
balance, how do you do it?
Yeah, with difficulty actually, but you got to be sort of. Well, I found out to be quite regimented.
Yeah.
And so I've got a chart on a whiteboard at home with 2-week planner.
Yep.
And I would put days and training sessions that I was doing for the next 2 weeks.
Yep.
And literally just stick to it. And once it was on the board, that was it. What I was doing.
Locked.
Yeah, but it was difficult. Didn't quite go to plan every week, but
Yeah, but you got close.
But
you know?
yeah, and that
You
was
obviously got
the
close.
only way that we could sort of do it. But then it is literally getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning, isn't it? Or
Yeah,
earlier.
we have to. Yeah.
Yeah, because if you've got to look after the kids on the Saturday afternoon, but you've got to get
6
running,
hours,
you got to so
Shit,
it's really just a juggling act and squeezing it in where you can and when you can, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing. I think hardest part's just initiating that session, really, isn't it? Like giving it the time and making it okay, allowing the time, locking it in. That's it. Got to do it. And again, to come back to what I was saying about you guys, you're a great reflection of your habits. You don't do events like this without the consistent small habits and small, small steps towards it's a cumulative total of all those training sessions that you did in the early hours of the morning together, because being alone would be quite frightening in the dark.
It is scary out there.
Well,
It is sometimes.
I ended up in the race on my own for a whole lot more than I thought I would.
Where were you, Dr. K?
Oh, we crossed paths. We saw each other at Death
Did-
Valley a few times.
She was too angry for fist pumping.
I didn't do it. Dr. K, how do you do it, mate? With kids, husband, uni, all the moving parts of your world. How do we balance?
You've got to bring your support team in. So sharing it with like our gym community. We've got people here that will meet us for a run or just encourage us. They know that we're doing it. Sharing it with your family so they know why it's important, and we've got supportive partners that
Get
champion
involved.
for us, and
very much so.
Cracking
I don't know
support,
if you
by
could
the
do
way.
it without it.
Oh, how good was that?
Oh, it's amazing.
Biggie ups, shout out, Gym Tribe, Angela Mansfield, and the Kidlets. Yoop, yoop. Quick question.
Yeah.
If somebody, if you had been, this is a little bit of a curly one, so you've been given an elephant, you can't sell it, you can't give it away, what would you do with it?
A virtual elephant. A real elephant.
Real elephant?
What sort of? How old's the elephant?
Really?
Indian or African?
Racial question, it's a fucking elephant. So you've been given the elephant, you can't give it away, can't sell it. What would you do with the elephant? It's not a trick question.
It feels like it's a trick.
Feels like it's a loaded question. Have a sip of the fit aid, mate. Biggie ups
Is
fit
there
aid.
an answer in there?
You take a good slurp. If you take 40 slurps.
What's the analogy?
And what's the purpose of it? It's a
So
quick.
you're stuck with something that you don't really want. Is that?
Well,
Is that what
depends.
you're getting
What
at?
you like?
I don't really want an elephant.
Animal hater or?
It's a big challenge. How are you going to feed it? It's too
Oh,
much
there you
pressure.
go.
I
See,
can't
that's
take
the
on
thing.
anymore,
It
Jamie.
is a big challenge. But
It is. There's a commitment. There's some daily habits there to be locked in. Looking after an elephant. Imagine. Actually, no.
You need a big shovel.
You just need a very big shovel.
Yeah.
So what would we do with said elephant?
Well, it's got to be kept safe.
You can see where I'm going.
Can't
We're keeping
be
with
right.
the theme
I
of the
I
elephant
actually
race.
can't
Did
see
you
where
see?
you're going.
No, it's because
No,
of the
I'll
elephant
tell you.
race.
I
Yeah, you
think
see it.
I
eh?
think, right? So
Simple thing,
So-
because we're about a millimetre away from
So
fucking
it's a-
orangutans. Me and this fella are like two chimpanzees. You know those two guys off the Muppet Show? I can't remember what they're called. They sit up in the
Oh
bleachers.
yeah, Waldorf and Statler, their names.
Oh! What? Waldorf and Statler. Yes! I've wanted all these years to know who those two geezers were at the top.
That's the only bit of information I know.
That's good.
Mate, don't worry about the elephant answer. You get a get out of jail free card. Dr. K, what are you doing with the elephant?
What?
He doesn't need to answer it. That was cracking. He's legit. He's a top tier podcaster. Have a sip of that.
I've got an answer for the elephant.
Oh, have you got one, have you? What is
Can
it?
you go with it?
Well, it's a massive task, right?
We've established that.
Yeah. So I think like with taking on the elephant trail race, for me, just got to calm the farm, have a think about it, and work out what's got to be done, and then start putting a few things in place to deal with the situation.
Fuck, this got serious all of a sudden, didn't it? He just brought the mood down.
Yeah.
Could look at
It's like a
logistics.
project.
Oh,
You need
okay.
people.
Oh, well, we'll take that. It's a project. It's a family project, support crew.
So think about logistics,
Yeah.
think about all the different moving parts, and
It's beautiful.
work out a way of dealing with it.
Yeah. And Palmwoods?
Bit of acreage out there,
Yeah.
you probably need that, wouldn't you? Or Malula.
Either
The
way.
Malula Valley. Elephant. Dr. K, what are we doing with the elephant?
We just got to keep it safe, keep it fed, look after it,
Do we? Nurture, guide,
and bring in the people to help us out. You can't take on that sort of task by yourself.
large task.
Charge all the local kids for a ride.
Yeah.
Oh,
Could make some money out of it.
Fundraiser.
the debiting system. Kids get 5 rides, do weekly debit. That's a great idea. We're gonna close on this podcast with a final tip. So we've got a large contingent of people, especially from this gym community and the Greater Sunshine Coast community, taking part in our premier trail ultra event here in Queensland, put together by the amazing Brett and Megan Stranding. So the Blackhall 100 and the Blackhall 50, they are just round the corner. We have over 30 people from this facility taking part. Guys, we're so excited about that event. Dean Carnassus is going to be there, which is unreal, the ultramarathon man himself. Words of advice and a really quick couple of sentences for the first time ultramarathon runners. Dave, bit of advice, mate.
Enjoy it and enjoy the process of the training. I think that's something that,
The journey type thing.
yeah, for me it is all about the journey. You know, so if you don't enjoy the training, then you're not likely to enjoy the end event.
Yep.
So get to enjoy the whole process. I think
Yep.
that would be the thing. And then when you're out there during the event, yeah, it's going to hurt. You're going to be tired. There's lots of things that you won't like about it, but just kind of embrace it all, because when you look back, they're the bits that you'll probably look back upon quite fondly. So. Yeah, just enjoy the process, I think.
Great advice, man. Trust the journey, trust the
Yeah.
process, enjoy it, and all the ups and downs and the roller coaster of the.
Because that's all a part of it.
Yeah.
If you don't want all those ups and downs and roller coasters, well, go and do it.
Go play fucking squash.
Yeah, do something that you can do in an hour.
Yeah.
You know, but
Foreplay or something. Yeah.
an hour.
That's a bit cool.
Dr. K, advice for first time ultramarathon runner coming to take on the Blackhall, or likewise.
I think our team here are really lucky because they've got such a supportive community. So if you're isolated, find a group that you can join in and train and jump in on the sessions and get exposed to different sort of training patterns that you haven't, or different terrain. Get some advice from who you trust around your nutrition and how you prepare, and I think that's really important.
Yeah.
Is
Would you say that's I believe it to be the cornerstone of your success, your nutrition and your hydration? Would you say
I think
that's super
it
important?
impacts you every day, how you feel and what your energy levels are, your mental health. I think it infiltrates everything. So getting some good advice around nutrition, and doing the work and picking a date that you can commit to train over that period of time. Get a good coach. With a good training program, who knows his shit.
Yeah.
Or her shit.
Grab an elephant.
Grab an elephant.
Yeah.
And then just commit to it and follow on with your goals.
Oh, guys, this has been amazing. I don't think you realise, or I think personally, how much useful advice and processes and things like that you've shared for other people and people considering getting into the endurance world. There's some real gems in what you guys have shared, and that's come through your time in the trenches and your experience and your perception, and I just want to thank you for that. It's been amazing.
Pleasure.
Dave, thank you very much,
Thank
mate.
you.
Prince of Palm Woods, the man himself. Gorgeous, thank you. Dr. K, Indie House, biggie ups, Dr. K. Guys, please subscribe to JMTtv on YouTube, on iTunes. Give us a little rating so we get shunted up the top and don't get put down in the arse end. And thank you for listening. Have a cracking day.